Robert Boyd, so stay tuned for some great videos, okay? This is Inside Automotive, and today I'm going to be showing you how to jack up a car. The tools you're going to need for this is a jack and jack stands. I'm using a Craftsman 3-ton jack stand and a Craftsman 3.5-ton jack. You're also going to need something to block off the wheels. I use a piece of wood usually. So the next thing you're going to have to do is decide what kind of vehicle you're lifting. Right now I'm lifting a manual transmission front wheel drive vehicle. So this makes it a lot easier for doing the jacking because if you use your parking brake, it's going to lock the back wheels, and if you keep it in gear, it's also going to lock the front transmission so it won't roll on you. It is always a good idea to block the wheels just in case though. So the next thing you're going to want to do is go underneath the vehicle and look for something metal to jack it up on. It's going to be hard to see since this is such a low profile car, but I'll try to get you guys a better shot later. Normally on this car I go off of the front suspension when lifting the front. Makes it really easy. So I put the jack right on in between both of these pinch welds, make it sturdy, and I put the jack stand right on the control arm. And just repeat this for the other side. Now with the front up in the air, there is a couple things I wanted to let you guys know. So when you jack up a car, what you want to do is you want to try to get it on as level of its ground as possible. This is the levelest I can find in my driveway, but when you're jacking it up as well, if it's completely level, what you want to do is keep your jacks level as well. So if you raise this one up one, you also raise that one up one. Now if you're on some uneven ground, what you're going to do is you're going to lift one up higher. You're going to only lift that maybe one, maybe two or something. That way it becomes even when you're working on it. So now let's move to the back. Okay, now once your car is completely off the ground and it is on the jack stands, what you're going to do is you are going to come over to the car, going to put your hand right in the middle of it and shake it just a little bit. Make sure that it's not going to bow or anything, just in case if something runs into it or if wind gets really strong. Pretty much anything, it's just a safety precaution. But then also, when you're jacking up your car, one thing you don't want to do is when you do the front or the back, you don't want to put it all the way up right at the beginning. You first start off at a low percentage, and then you just start gradually getting it higher and higher. Just keep adjusting them. What you may also run into is when you jack up this one, then maybe you need to raise or lower one of the front ones. It just depends on the ground you're working on, but it's something you might run into. And finally, when you're all done, all you do is you just repeat the steps backwards, and then you're all set. And you're going to be back on the road in no time. So guys, hopefully you took away something from the video. There's 1,000 ways to jack up a vehicle, but it really just depends on the vehicle. Today I showed you how to do the 2016 Focus ST. One thing I would highly recommend if you do own a Focus, or I know they offer it for Mustangs as well, is they have jacking rails that go along the pinch weld, let you jack up the car a lot easier anywhere pretty much on the car. So I will actually be doing a future video on that, so you guys should definitely look out for that. And let me show you a couple easy ways to jack up on a couple other different styles of cars. Okay, so right now I'm looking at a 2012 Equinox. So personally, when I do work on this vehicle, if you guys can see it, up in the front there's a metal bar that spans the entire length of the car. I'll go up in the front, see if I can get a better look at it. I always go off of that. If you put the jack on that, you can lift up both of the front wheels at the same time. Really easy to get a jack stand underneath there. You can also lift it right up off of the metal body. Pretty much anywhere. If you see metal and it's not rusted through, you can always lift it up. And then pretty much any car. So this is your pinch weld right here. That is going to be standard on just about every single car made, and that is your go-to unless it is a older car. Definitely if you live in the Rust Belt, that may be rusted through. Sometimes you can get on it, sometimes you can't, but if you can't find anywhere else, that's always a good go-to. So if you guys can see it, here is the metal bar up in the front. Usually I just put the jack right up on the front of it. Really, really simple to do. Now, if you were lifting up the back of this vehicle, I would either go off the pinch weld, part of the body frame. You can also go on the suspension, like on the control arm right back here. That's also a really easy spot. Okay, so if you own a truck or any rear-wheel drive vehicle, what I usually do is I'll lift it up off of the differential or off of the mounts for the back struts if you're lifting up the rear. Really easy to do, and best place to put the jack stand is right on the axle shafts. Really good support for that. And then if you can't find any other place to jack it up, you can always go off the hitch. Be careful though when you're doing this, because you don't want it to slip because of where the weight is. If you're lifting up the front, what you can always do is, on this vehicle I have torsion bars, so they are right here. Sometimes I'll jack those up since they're just a solid piece of metal. Easy place to do. You can also do it any part of the metal frame. Just make sure that you lift both sides evenly, because some pieces are different on each side for the different mounts since this is four-wheel drive. And then the one place you're never going to want to jack it up is, I have the engine out of this right now, but never jack it up on the oil pan. Never jack your car up on the oil pan, no matter what kind of car it is, no matter if you have to get a job done quick. Don't do it, because right through that oil pan is your oil pump and then you're also crankshaft. You don't want to be replacing them.